Hello to my algebra peeps. We are going to talk about writing and graphing inequalities. You can see the vocabulary over here. Make sure you have those definitions in your notes. You will see them pop up from time to time, like this first one right here, inequality. An inequality is a mathematical sentence that compares expressions. An inequality contains one of these four symbols: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. When we write inequalities from sentences, we're going to look for certain phrases to tell us which inequality symbols to use. So for the less than symbol, you're going to look for is less than or is fewer than. For the greater than symbol, you're looking for is greater than or is more than. For less than or equal to, they could just say is less than or equal to, or they could say is at most. That means the highest number it could equal, or anything less than that, so that's less than or equal to, or is no more than, it's not more than a certain number, it's that number, or everything less than that. Greater than or equal to, they could just say is greater than or equal to, or they could say is at least or is no less than. So is at least means like there's a lowest number, so it can equal that, or it can be everything greater than that. Is no less than means it's not less than, so it's greater than or it's equal to it. So make sure you get this in your notes and that you remember these phrases and which inequality symbols they will indicate. All right, for our first example, write each sentence as an inequality. A number W minus 3.5 is less than or equal to negative 2. So let's take a look at this. A number W minus 3.5, so that's one side of the inequality, is less than or equal to, that's going to give us our inequality symbol, and then negative 2, that's what it's less than or equal to. So a number W minus 3.5, we would write W minus 3.5. For is less than or equal to, that's this one, less than or equal to, and then negative 2. So the inequality we would write that matches that sentence would be W minus 3.5 is less than or equal to negative 2. B, 3 is less than a number n plus 5. So we get three parts here. We got one side of the inequality symbol, and then the other side of the inequality. So 3, we just write 3 is less than, that's going to be our less than symbol. A number n plus 5, that's n plus 5. Put all those parts together and you get this inequality. 3 is less than n plus 5. Part C, 0 is greater than or equal to twice a number x plus 1. So 0 is greater than or equal to twice the number x plus 1. The 0 part's easy, we just write a 0. Is greater than or equal to, that's our greater than or equal to symbol. Twice a number x plus 1, that would be 2 times x plus 1, and we write that as 2x plus 1. Put it all together, and what does that spell? 0 is greater than or equal to 2x plus 1. Alrighty, let's take a look at example 2. Here we are trying to tell whether a certain number is a solution of an inequality. So for part A, x plus 8 is less than negative 3. We're going to check to see if negative 4 is a solution. First thing we're going to do is write down the inequality. X plus 8 is less than negative 3. Second thing we're going to do, substitute that negative 4 for the variable. So instead of x, we'll put a negative 4. Now, next we're going to simplify over here. Negative 4 plus 8 would be positive 4. And then we check, is 4 less than negative 3? And in this case, no, 4 is not less than negative 3. That's what the little slash through the less than sign means. It's not less than negative 3. So since 4 is not less than negative 3, this inequality is false. 4 is not less than negative 3. That means that what we started with, the negative 4 that we plugged in for x, it must not be a solution for that inequality. Because when we plug a negative 4 in for x, we get an inequality that's not true. Part B, same process. Step 1, write down the inequality. Step 2 is going to be to substitute -4 for the variable. Remember that negative 4.5x means negative 4.5 times x, so this is multiplication. Now we're going to simplify here. Negative 4.5 times -4 is going to be a positive 18. And then we check, is 18 greater than negative 21? 18 is positive, negative 21 is negative, so yeah, 18 is greater than negative 21. That means that the -4 that we plugged in for x is a solution to the inequality, because when we plug it in for x, we get an inequality that is true. All right, so a solution of an inequality is just a value that makes the inequality true, like we just found out with the -4. In the second inequality, it worked, it made the inequality true, so it was a solution. An inequality can have more than one solution. Generally, they're going to have like lots and lots, infinitely many solutions. The set of all solutions of an inequality is called the solution set. So one number can be a solution of an inequality, but the collection of all solutions for an inequality is called the solution set. And the graph of an inequality shows the solution set of that inequality on a number line. An open circle is used when the number is not a solution, when it can't equal that number, and a closed circle is used when a number is a solution. And then from that either open or closed circle, you draw an arrow to the right or the left that shows which way the graph goes. All right, let's look at some examples. Y is less than or equal to -3. So at -3, we're going to make a circle. Since we have the equal to sign here, first of all, it says y is less than or equal to -3, so you know how to read that. Then we're going to use a closed circle, solid circle, because that means that number -3 is a solution. Y can equal -3, but y is also anything less than -3. The little line under the inequality symbol tells us that y can be equal to -3 because it's a solution, so we fill that circle in. We draw our arrow going to the left because that is where the values are less than -3. And this red graph here represents the solution set for the inequality, which is all the numbers that are less than -3 or equal to -3. All right. Now on part B, we've got 2 is less than x. It says 2 is less than x. Well, we can basically flip the order of this as long as the little arrow, the inequality arrow, is pointing at the same number and opening to the same value. So this is pointing at the 2 and opening towards the x. So we could flip that around as long as the inequality symbol is still pointing at the 2 and opening to the x. So down here in red, 2 is less than x is the same as saying x is greater than 2. So we can write x is greater than 2, and you'll see the inequality is still pointing at the 2 and opening to the x, so it has the same meaning. 2 less than x is the same as x greater than 2. All right, now that we have it written this way, let's talk about our graph. At the number 2, we're going to make an open circle. The open circle is open because we don't have the equal sign under the inequality, so that means 2 is not a solution. Since x cannot be equal to 2, we have to do the open circle, and then we draw our arrows to the right because that's where the numbers are greater than 2. And this red graph represents all the solutions to the inequality x is greater than 2, or 2 is less than x, which is all the numbers that are bigger than 2 but not equal to 2. All right, for C, we've got x is greater than 0. X is greater than 0. So at 0, we're going to make a circle. We don't have the equal to sign, so we're going to leave it in a hollow circle or an open circle because 0 is not a solution. X can't equal 0. X has to be bigger than 0. Our line goes to the right because that's where numbers are greater than 0. And the red graph represents all the numbers that are greater than 0 but not equal to 0. Example 4. These graphs show the height restrictions, h, in inches for 2 rides at an amusement park. And we want to write an inequality that represents the height restriction of each ride. Okay, so ride A, we see a closed circle at 48 and the line going to the right, the arrow going to the right. And for B, we have an open circle at 52 and then arrow going to the left. So for ride A, the arrow going to the right tells us that the solutions are all greater than 48. And the solid circle tells us that 48 is also a solution. So the height h must be greater than or equal to 48. So there's your inequality, h greater than or equal to 48. For ride B, the arrow going to the left tells us solutions are all less than 52. And the open circle tells us 52 is not a solution. So the height, h, must be less than 52. So h is less than 52. No equal to sign under it because the open circle tells us 52 cannot be a value for h. All right, that's where we are. That's the end of the lesson. I hope you learned about inequalities and took some rad notes. See ya later.